Hey guys, Mark from the rhuarb Bros. Tonight I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do to make wine. We want to create a couple of batches of wine to go hunting with. So what I'm doing right now is halving apples, cutting them in half so that we can pass them through the juicer. Just extract the juice and make wine out of it. So right now I'll just show you quickly what I'm doing. I've cut apples, just apples I went to pick up in random trees and fields. I obviously tasted them first just to make sure that they're not too tart, but I'm just cutting them in half. And then what I'll do, I'll bring these apples here right up to my juicer. Then what I'm going to do with my juicer is pass the apples in it, and the juice is going to fall in the pot. This is going to be very loud, so here we go. Alright, so as I go along, I'll finish these in a little bit. And what you notice is that whenever the juicer is done, it keeps all of the unused portion of the apple. It sort of grinds it up into a very, very dryish pulp. And you could just put that in your compost and eventually put it in your garden. So now what I've done is that I've juiced a whole bunch of apples, and I'm filling up a carboy. Right now, it's got almost a quarter of it filled with apple cider or apple juice. And I'm going to make an apple cider wine. And then on this side, if you notice, there's very little in it. But this is actually rhubarb. Rhubarb juice. So I'm going to make a rhubarb wine. I might end up putting maybe strawberries or raspberries in there also. But I'll show you a little bit later, and I'll keep going through the process. Alright, ciao. Okay guys, here's the next step that we're going to take to create that wine. Once you have all your juices inside the carboys, what you want to do is fill up the carboy 3/4 full with water. As you can see here, it's green. If I focus in a little bit here, you might see some of the sediments working around already. What I've done is I've just 3/4 filled the carboy with water, and this one here is the apple cider. The apple cider is brownish in color. It's filled up to 3/4 or so. What I'm going to do with this afterwards is I'm going to add some sugar, some activating yeast, and I forget the name of the other chemical, but once I get the chemical I'll be able to show you. So we'll add those ingredients to it, then top the rest off with water. I would probably bring it up to here. It'll be 95% full. And then let the yeast do its thing with the sugar, create the alcohol. Then we'll filter it and show you the type of wine that we have at the end product. Cool, isn't it? Green wine. Wow. Hey guys, okay, we're back. I'm going to show you the next step that we have to follow to make our wine. Yesterday I showed you the making of the apple cider and the rhubarb wine. And if you notice at the bottom, all the sediments have already gone down in both the apple cider and the rhubarb. So this is why we have some of the instruments you see here. First off, we're going to use a large spoon, and obviously this side cannot go in to the top, so we use the bottom. And we're just going to stir that around to bring back the sediments around, bring back some of the sweetness back up in both the bottles. Then what we're going to do is add one of these. It's a wine yeast. It's lalvin. We put that in, and this is what's going to create most of the alcohol in your wine. The other thing we also have is sugar. Sugar is what's going to activate the yeast and actually create the alcohol. And we like our wine sweeter than dry. We're not the wine connoisseurs in any case. We just like an after dinner, after supper type of wine where it's sweet, you could take it down, it's almost like a cooler more than a dry wine. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a lot more sugar than what is normally added in wine. The more sugar you add, in most cases, the more alcohol it makes. Gosh darn it, more alcohol. And we talked to the winemaker, and the guy didn't have any dextrose, which is the wine that's mostly used for the winemaking. But he told us that any table sugar would do the same thing. It just takes a little bit longer because it's a bit thicker crystals, but it'll do the same job. So I just got a couple of bags here, and obviously I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'm probably going to put 2-3 cups per cowboy to be able to get the sweetness that we want. The other thing we have is a little funnel to add some of the sugar in our carboy because the hole is pretty small. And also we have the bubblers. What I'm going to have to do is open the tops and drop water in the bubbler to approximately the middle line here, so that the plastic in the middle will bob up and down and let some of the air flow through. Whenever the yeast is activated, it's going to produce a lot of gas and it's going to be bubbling and bubbling away. I'll probably show you that a little bit later whenever the bubbling is happening. So once that is all done, we've got in the back here big pots of water, which is what I'm going to use the funnel for, is to top off our carboy to the top with water and fill it up. Then I put the tops of the bubblers on. So what I'm going to start doing right now is open up the, come on, open up the rhubarb wine starter and stir the sediments up. As you can see at the bottom, they're all sitting nice and quiet. So I'm going to stir the whole thing up. And as you can see, there's lots of sediment. And it's turning the water a very opaque green once again. Now once that's done, I'm going to add our sugar into the mix. So away we go. My arm's in the way here. So here we go with the sugar. There's 2 cups. 2 cups, I'm not quite sure. That's actually 16 ounces. So we're going to add 4 cups of sugar to this. Or actually I'll try with 3 cups first. Stir it around. Then have just a quick little taste of the liquid just to see if it's too tart. Then I add more sugar. So this is 3 cups. This is also mixing up all at the same time. There it goes. Now back to the stirring. And obviously the longer you stir, the better the sugar gets mixed and dilutes completely into your liquid mix. So obviously this is going to be exactly the same thing I'm going to do with the apple cider wine. The only thing is I might end up putting a little bit less sugar in the apple cider wine, just because the apples themselves are much sweeter than the rhubarb. So I might start with 2 cups and give it a quick taste. Okay, I'm going to go with the taste. I'll add about another cup of sugar. I was able to taste some of the sweetness, but a lot of the rhubarb tartness came around, and we will be losing quite a bit of the sugar taste to the yeast once it starts activating and turning it into alcohol. The other thing you could do a little bit later on also is 3/4 of the way through the wine making, you can add more sugar. It'll activate the yeast a little bit more, but it will also keep your concentration of sugar inside your wine, which is what we like. Most of you out there will say, why the hell is he putting so much sugar in our wine? Well, that's how we like it. We like a nice sweet wine, and a lot of our family does also. You'll notice that once we have this done, it will disappear in no time. Everybody in the family is actually anticipating this wine to be complete. So soon enough it'll be done. Yeah, yes, much better. Now we're going to add the wine yeast. The little envelope. It's just like, or it looks like baking yeast that you do breads and muffins and all sorts of stuff like that. So in it goes. Into the pot. I'll let actually that sit down for now and go to the apple cider mix. So I'll stop the video now because obviously it's just repeating myself here. And once I've got the bubblers on there and the top's filled up with water, I'll come back and show you hopefully the bubblers bubbling a little bit. And once the wine is done, I'll show you the filtering process. Okay, see you later.